He transcends time and space and.
So when God said, I am who am, and then you said, what was the thing for us to meditate on? How did you put it?
Became you and me.
Became you and me, because he came to earth.
Right.
And was just like us, became a creature. I mean, he's God, but he became
Human.
as an infant to
As
this
the church
world.
says, it became us, just like us, except for sin. So he had all the temptations we have. He suffered all the brutality of the crucifixion for us. And he felt every whip.
And he even asked his father, could he be spared the night before?
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
Could
He
you
said,
spare
"No,
me?
no."
And he said, could this pass me by? I think he asked.
So he isn't this God that doesn't understand us, or is like we think of a king here. He's a king, the king that became born because he's God. Poor, could be in a stable in Bethlehem. But then we have three kings come, so he's saying he'll come from everybody. I've not come as a king, but only I've come from the teeniest to the, meaning to everybody. The kings, royal kings, and to the poorest.
I think another little thing, I was thinking up there. We always say, well, the Bible is the Bible. But the Jews, when they were studying the Bible, came across the thing that said, and we created man, and we made him good. And they never knew why the plural we was used when God was a singular I. And it wasn't until Jesus came and told us of the Trinity that we understood why Moses wrote down we instead of I. I just kind of think it's
I never heard that before.
Yeah.
an unusual
Is that how it is in Genesis?
Yeah, it's we became, we made man, we made him good, not I made him good. And they never knew why it was the plural until Jesus revealed the Trinity. I just think it's one of those little facts in the Bible when you say, is it true? And another thing, they said, and he made the world out of nothing. And everybody said that just couldn't be. And all evolutionary theory is built upon matter being there to work upon it, a swirling amount of gas or things. And then in the 1930s, a monk from Belgium proved that the earth began at a point in time. And
Father Latimer is his name.
yeah.
He created the Big Bang Theory.
Right. And now nobody would believe him. And in about 1985, first of all, in about 1970, or maybe even later than that, the planetarium in New York changed the story from a swirling amount of gas to a point in time. But the planetarium in London had a big fight over doing it, and it was in the 1990s. They finally did it because the proof was in the mathematical formula. They couldn't, and all truth has finally got to be proved mathematically.
They can
God
prove
worked
the
first
first second of time down to the 100th of a second.
Right.
What happened, they can trace time back, and then the first second of creation, after the moment of the Big Bang, they can tell you what happened every 100th of a second apart. That makes us understand how much one of every one of the elements that's in the earth exists today, the exact abundances of helium and hydrogen and oxygen, and how it couldn't have happened any other way. And if it didn't happen exactly as it happened, we couldn't exist.
Yeah.
It's
And there's
really
other, the story, the history in the Bible, I said it began with Abraham, but actually there was stories before, like Noah's story and all the, and whether they'll ever be proved mathematically or not, they all tell a story that God can build on to teach us, to reveal himself to us. So if those stories are not accurate, they reveal a characteristic about God.
And yes, that's why they believe the Bible